What's going on, everybody out there all across the land? Of course, you know you're tuned into the number one station on the net, Hotline Radio. You listen to the number one show on the net, the Keith Harris Show. And, of course, I'm your guy, Keith Harris. Now, it's always an extraordinary time here on the show, as you all know. It's always a blast, and we have some wonderful special guests on the show. And today, I'm really honored to have this gentleman on the phone. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to speak last week, but we're all busy. He's a hard-working guy. A lot of things come up for him, but he was able to stop and talk to us today for a while. So without any further ado, I'd like to do my usual drum roll, give everybody the drum roll, and a special red carpet interest for none other than the one and only actor / producer, Tomas Boykin. How you doing today, man?
I'm fantastic, brother. How you doing?
Hey, I'm enjoying it, man. Over here on the East Coast, the sun is finally shining. The snow and the cold weather left us, so I'm doing great.
That's a good thing. Yeah, you guys got hammered over there. I mean, at least you're not in Boston.
Oh my goodness, yeah, I know, right? And here I am. Look, here I am complaining about North Carolina. There's people up there like snowed in.
Right.
Yeah, no doubt. So, just to kind of start out and give everybody out there, in case people have been kind of underneath a rock for a while and they're not really familiar, with some of your great works. First of all, for the people out there, kind of let us know how you began this wonderful journey into the entertainment industry. Did it start for acting for you, or how did you get in?
Well, it started with a lot of things, in my house. We did everything. I was always into the arts, painting, drawing, dance, everything. My dad was a musician, and I thought at one time I was going to be a musician. And acting was just something that was always going on throughout grade school, middle school, high school, even college, all the way through college. So I just kind of stuck. You do things sort of like an extension of your everyday living, and so you don't really see it in a compartmentalized way as being separate from you. So performing was just something that I grew up doing.
Right.
And acting was something that just after a long period of time, I just got serious about it and kept doing it, and here I am. Right. I haven't stopped yet.
Look, you on a journey. So did you when you was younger? Did you start out like a lot of us? I guess it's a crazy question, but were you in any like plays or anything like that when you were younger in school?
Oh, absolutely. That was it. Especially grade school. We a lot of the plays came from what we read in class in school, and from that, some of those the ones that we selected, we would actually perform them. And sometimes, a lot of times that would be in what they call the assembly or the auditorium. And it just went on. And for me, though, when I was doing that stuff, third, fourth, second grade, fifth grade, it was an assignment.
Right. Exactly.
It was an assignment. And I always said, for me, getting to the auditorium was a different venue. And I don't even know if they do that in schools today. But yeah, for me it was an assignment. And so by the time I got up to like maybe the ninth grade or something like that, then it was just doing plays in school, like the high school musical and the dramas, and just being around the artsy folks that were in class, that were in the school. And a lot of those guys were my friends, and we hang out in Society Hill, Philadelphia a lot. It was just a culture or subculture of artists that really, I believe they're still thriving there in Philadelphia, like downtown Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So a lot of us come out of there, man, and we just continue on.
Did you growing up in Philly, did you grow up attending the Greek Fest sometime? I know I used to go out to I'm originally from DC, so I used to drive up and hit Greek Fest.
Right. I think I've been maybe once or twice.
Yeah.
Because I went to college in the Poconos.
Oh,
and,
okay.
So it was very different from
Yeah. Now, what you know, and I always ask that question, you know, because we talk about the films, and you know, we'll get into you know some of the hits you've been in, but what was it like? I try to go in depth. What was it like for that first, or can you remember that first audition for you?
Yeah, it was.
And what it felt like, not so much is what it was, but like, you know, where did you go in? Did you already, you know, had you already done work before to the point that when you went in, you was like, okay, I'm prepared for this. I know what I'm in for. Or was it that cold feet aspect for a little while?
Well, it was different for me because I had done so many plays before I did an actual first audition. Because remember now, for me, coming up in grade school, you know, you have a teacher, so it's like, all right, Tomas, you'll play Harold.
Right.
And Susan, or, you know, Susan, you can play Maud. You know, so the teacher would just pick out people, and it was based on her wanting us to read.
Uh-huh.
So I had done so many plays before I auditioned, but in answer to your question, the first audition I remember having, it was extremely painful. I was unsure. I didn't know. I mean, it just, because I kept thinking to myself, can't we just get to the performance? Why are we testing?
Right.
Why are we doing this? And then I realized, oh, okay, so when I get out of school and I really start doing plays, I'm going to have to audition, and I already had monologues, you know, but the auditioning process is quite different than actually performing.
Yeah, you know what? You're the first person who's really said that, but I guess I can kind of imagine, because when you step into performing, it's like you know what you're doing, and you're just ready to get into it, like you said. But when you're auditioning, it's kind of like you feel like people are looking for something, you know, and you don't know what to bring. You're really trying to figure out what they want instead of just how to play the role.
Right, and that's what it is. You're being inspected, and you're being judged. And you know, you get directions, and then after a while, I mean, auditioning is still not something that I can't say I am just so in love with auditioning. You know,
right? Nobody is, right?
You know, but I also see it kind of like a sport, and I'm pretty competitive, so going in for an audition is, for me, you know, it's one of those things where you just go in there and you do what you do, and you make your choices, and you book the room, but all of that is a process. Right. You know, it's so much more than just knowing the lines and all of that stuff. It's a lot more than that. You need to be in that moment at that moment. Mm-hmm. And if that crystallizes and it stays in the hearts and minds of the people who are viewing you, they'll remember you, and then they'll probably call you back so that you can repeat the painful process. Call back.
Exactly. Right. When they already know how good you are, but they're going to take you through that again anyway.
You know, but it comes with the territory, so you just continue on doing it.
Right, and you know, and goodness knows you've been called back quite a few times. You have
man. You get to, you know, I mean, I've had auditions too where I went in and you know, I did the reading or whatever. I always go off book, make my choices. That's something I've done in the auditioning process. As you know, I did that even before going to New York, moving to New York from Philly. I would make my choices, very definite choices, because I had learned from the Walnut Street Theater Institute that choices, we live and die by our choices, but you definitely die if you make no choices.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when I audition, I usually make very specific choices, and I stick with those choices unless I get direction. Yeah, it's a process.
Right. And you know, and hearing you, and look, I was just about to go into, you know, some of the works, and we'll get into those in just a second, but you know, hearing you speak about New York, because you're on the West Coast now, right?
Right, yeah, I'm here in Hollywood.
Right. Now, you know, I'm on the East Coast, and New York's it's a hard town, it's a hard city. Have you noticed that being, in working in New York and then working on the West Coast too, I always ask that question for those who've been on both sides. Is it any more tougher? Because, in New York, they're going to tell you, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is that their slight difference?
Yeah, there's a slight difference. But slight difference is a mammoth difference.
I was being modest. Yeah.
Yeah, there is. It's a very, very large difference. I like New York. I love New York. You know what New York is?
Mm-hmm.
New York is like, when I was a kid, we played roughhouse basketball. Okay,
yep.
So you go to the public courts, and the only way you're going to play, the first time you get to play, you want to play, so you play against this one kid. Now, if you want to continue playing, you got to beat that kid.
Yeah.
And so you just keep going and keep going and keep going, and so everybody goes up to say like 11 points or something like that. And New York is a lot like that. What I loved about New York is that it is so competitive. It is lit and it's fast.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah.
And I'm hardwired for the East Coast. Whereas, and it's very in your face, as my agent in New York said, in New York, in LA, they stab you in the back. In New York, we stab you in the chest.
That's right.
She said, you know why? I said, why? She said, because we want to take credit and we want you to see us taking credit.
Man, look, that's a tough lesson, but it's the truth.
Yeah, whereas out here in Los Angeles, it's so passive aggressive.
Uh-huh.
It's so passive aggressive, and it's so. You see the situation that's being played out. That's been played out with Monique and Lee Daniels.
Absolutely.
That's West Coast, baby.
Yeah. You know what? I totally agree with you on that. As a matter of fact,
that's Hollywood.
That's
Hollywood.
Yep. Now, okay. Now, talking about some of your works, and I want to go to 2015, but I want to start with 2013 and Ice Cream for Breakfast, because you co-produced on that, right?
Yes.
And you also were in it too. Your character was Clyde.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, man, I have to do this because I wanted. It reminded me of a film I had seen in the bedroom with Tom Wilkinson, Spake, and I believe Marisa Tomei. Okay. And it was, just bad choices that a father made, Mm-hmm. And so I had always wanted to do those sorts of adult dramas, which, they don't often come to, not often do they come to artists of color, particularly black actors.
Wow.
And so when I read Ice Cream for Breakfast, I thought to myself, man, I've got to do this, and it was just a no-brainer.
Right.
And I didn't have to audition for it because I had worked with the director, Jabril Ty Murphy, in a previous film called Lineage. Right. So, but I'm hoping we'll see Ice Cream for Breakfast at some point. I've seen a rough cut of it, but it's a great piece of writing, and I just had to do it. And it's basically a father who sexually abuses his daughter when she was very young, and the way he would coax her into. Basically, the guy molests his daughter, and right. What he would do is he would coax her into it by telling her that if she let him do certain things to her, he would give her ice cream for breakfast.
Oh, wow.
And then what happens is, fast forward, she grows up. He hadn't seen her in, I don't know how long, say maybe 20 years or something like that. So he had pretty much written her off. Mm-hmm. And he and his wife, that marriage is dissolved. And this guy Clyde gets a visit from his daughter. And he doesn't really know, he doesn't even know it's her. And her agenda in getting to him is to set the score right. So she's coming there armed with a gun, and he doesn't even know it.
Oh, man.
So that's why I'm like, shoot, I have to do this.
Yeah.
And along the way, what she does is she meets a guy, Salvador, who is like her boyfriend for the moment, and he becomes ensnared in this conspiracy.
Right.
That completely unaware of. And so what happens is he's trying to suss it out while it's taking place right there in front of him in Clyde's apartment.
Right. So he has no idea. Now he's trying to take this in, and he's just stuck in the middle and obviously dealing with different emotions.
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's one of the...
So it was a lot of fun to do. It was intense, and it was very serious, and we didn't shoot it over a long period of time, you know. It was, man, I really enjoyed it a lot.
Yeah, that seems like that's definitely one of those that they, you know, they should definitely get out there, because that just in itself, the storyline and the plot is deep. You know, just hearing that, I'm sure people out there listening to it right now, like, really want to see that. Like, I wish they would bring that out, because that, you know, that's emotional. It seems like an emotional film, and everybody's going to want to see what happens, how this turns out.
It's a dark story, and it's something that it's something that you would see on, like, that station, Aspire.
Right.
Because they have a lot of short films on their programming, and so this would be perfect in something like that. But I'm really proud of that work, because it was just something that I thought this has legs on it, you know, and it's not typical fare for a lot of us. So hopefully we'll get to see it, and I certainly enjoyed, you know, working with everybody in it. You know, Jersey Parker, or Tiara Parker, she played Rita, and then Rashawn Bond, he played Sal, and you know, it was just a great group of people to work with.
Right. And now, going on to 2015, Lazarus Rising, where you played Owen in that. What's a little bit about that?
Well, yeah, that's another great project that's going to be coming out pretty soon, and I play Owen in that piece. And Lazarus Rising is, well, I mean, there's a lot of people in it. You know, we got Eric Roberts in that. C. Thomas Howell was in it. Mike Pfaff, Mike Pfaff was the one who pretty much brought me in on Lazarus Rising. And Lazarus Rising is basically a thriller, and it's a crime drama. Okay, and I guess what they call it as really a crime thriller, and it basically deals with a hitman he's on the run, and a woman with a secret who's trying to evade a team of assassins. And Owen is one of the guys that he comes across. Okay, so there I am. I'm like this drug dealer. Right. You know, and just a guy in the hood who
the bad guy.
Bullies a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just it's low level mob in Boston.
Okay.
You know, so it's gritty stuff.
But there's some action.
Oh yeah. I mean, we're talking low-level mob enforcer. Mike Pfaff plays a character, I believe the name is Michael Fitzpatrick, and you know, he has a relatively banal life, you know, and with Emma, and his days pretty much are a blend of violence and bailing his heroin-addicted genius brother Sean out of trouble.
Oh, okay.
You know, so it was another project that I definitely wanted to be a part of, and it was a great time to be in Boston too.
Right. You know, and these roles that you're playing, you know, it seems like these are roles that have substance to them. You know, they're not off into the wind. They're roles that capture people with some sort of emotion that you have to bring to the table. Obviously, those are the roles that you like to play. You know, do you feel like at the beginning of your career that those were the ones that you were fit for? Did you see yourself going in any other direction, or?
You know, it's interesting you bring that up, because a lot of what forms my choices, I think it's with any actor, they can say what they want. I mean, I probably get to do half of what I want, and the other half is stuff that comes to me.
Right.
Okay, so, and a lot of it has to do with...
Looking back on the line, we lost you for a minute, Tomas. Tomas. But we're glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be back. But yeah, a lot of it has to do with people's perceptions of you. And I've been pretty fortunate in that I've never really been approached with just roles that were basically the guy next door.
Right.
I've never gotten that, and I've never really concerned myself with being pigeonholed. Of course, I know what my brand is, and of course, Matt knows what my brand is.
Right.
But I like the stuff that I've been getting. Like the role, like Junkie.
Yeah.
That role was basically, it was a gift from Adam Mason, and I got to work with some really, with great actors, Daniel Lewis Rivas and Robert Lusardo. And I mean, Junkie is about as dark a comedy as you can get. It's almost not funny.
Oh,
and,
wow.
And it's like a cross between Fight Club and I'm trying to think of that. There was a film that one of the Wayans brothers was in with Jennifer Connelly, and it dealt with drug addiction. But I mean, Junkie was just a fantastic project to be a part of. And when Adam said, we'd like you to play the role of Otto, and Otto in Junkie he's like a doctor, he's like a physician, but he's a part-time drug dealer.
Oh wow!
And he's insanely violent.
And he has access to the supply. I'm assuming, being a doctor.
He has access to the supply, and so what he does is he's supplying drugs to Danny, and Danny has his alter ego that's pretty much right there with him, trying to get him to get these drugs. Danny's alter ego, Danny himself decides to go cold turkey, no more drugs, but his alter ego still wants drugs.
Mm-hmm.
So Danny's having this conversation with his second self, and his second self is like, man, I need a fix right now, so we need to call Otto. So Otto shows up, and Otto he's not aware of Danny's alter ego, and he's like, who are you talking to?
Oh, and
wow. It was a lot of fun to be in that film. That was kind of my chance to play a character close to what Samuel L. Jackson did in Pulp Fiction, Jules.
Oh, okay. So then you were really off the chain in that one then.
Oh God, dude, I got to use profanity I couldn't even invent myself.
Yeah.
But that's selling to my left. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, and when I looked at him, I'm like, this is how you sing. He's like, yeah, man, I think you'd be fantastic in this. This would be great. And when I started with the project, I think we were only like 40 pages into the script, so we were pretty much workshopping it, and we shot it 93 pages, 7 days.
Dang, 93 pages in 7 days.
7 days. We had about a week of rehearsals. It was heavy in dialogue, very violent, and you should pick it up, man. It's called Junkie, and I think it's put out by Indican Entertainment.
Okay.
I'm very proud of it. Very proud.
Yeah, because I was actually, that was going to be my next question. As a matter of fact, is where could everybody pick that up at? And that's Indican.
Indican.
Okay, and
Indican Entertainment, and I think it was on Redbox at one point, but I haven't seen it recently.
Right. Well, either way, for everybody out there listening, you can probably Google it at least. Definitely Google it or find it, and that'll lead you to where it is. And also on the IMDb page too. To find out about Tomas's works, just to look up a lot of the different things that he's been in, and then from that will lead you to know what to look up. Now, what's going on in the present, without giving away too much, Tomas? What are you working on now?
Well, there are a number of pilots that I'm up for.
Oh wow!
And you're right. Yes, you're right. You can't give away too much. And then there's some projects that I'm producing. There's one project that I'm very proud of. which deals with the juvenile justice system. So we're in the early stages of, we're in pre-production on that. We've got a lot of the cast already attached, and it deals with the juvenile justice system and the corruption that that bounds people in administration and the youth that are caught up in the system. It's a machine, and I found out about this from this brother by the name of Time and Ship, who works in the system. And so what he did was he approached a mutual friend of ours, Richard Mueller, who's a writer. We've been working on it now for quite a few months, and we've got most of the cast attached. And I just heard these stories, and I just thought, man, this is law and order stuff. But it is so incredibly corrupt. You know, these kids, they go into the justice system, and at one point I sort of thought our criminal justice system was pilfering the general population for new inmates.
Right.
You know, we need some new kids.
Right.
You know, and of course there are a lot of bad kids out there. But that was something I studied in college. I mean, that's what my degree is, criminal justice. And going into that, I thought, okay, so this is really about rehabilitation. But a lot of it's not about rehabilitation. A lot of it is just about permanent housing.
Yeah.
You know, and so Unit LM is one of those projects where we go deep into the juvenile justice system and just see how vulnerable these kids are and how they're mistreated, and also see how the good ones are not protected from the bad ones, how there's just so much corruption in it.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of that, and we're working on that. Lazarus Rising is going to be coming out.
And give me 1 second, Tomas. Listen, everybody out there, just in case you're just tuning in late or you missed or have missed some of the conversation between my man Tomas Boykin and myself, Keith Harris, don't forget you can also catch the full conversation, the full interview on social media. You can check us out on Facebook. You can listen to it on YouTube page. It will be posted on social media later on as well for those that are tuning in late or did miss it. So we're going to continue this conversation and pick up where we just left off. Once again, we're here talking to wonderful actor and producer Tomas Boykin, and right now, he's giving us an update on some of the projects that we can look for in the present, as we talked about before, without giving too much away. Now, and now going back into what you were just talking about the justice system, now, is this going to be a film or is it a series that you guys are working on?
We're looking at it right. Well, we have it in film. We have it in all ways. We have the property. We have it designed for television. We have it designed for feature film and as well a sitcom. Okay. My favorite version of it is as an episodic because the stories are just go on forever.
Right.
And there are many comedic elements to it. Like, Tanya was telling me, about, he had one situation where this kid was, I think he was in jail for stabbing to death his grandmother.
Oh, man.
And apparently he was in, he's a kid. I don't even think he was like 18.
Right.
And we're talking about like 15, and I believe he was in there for something like 150 years. So,
man.
You listen to this kind of stuff, and well, they're telling the way it was explained to me was Timon had apparently an exchange with this young man, and the young man was saying to him, because they told me that if he's in there for like 150 years, and they're telling him, or like 180 years or something like that. Right. And they told me that, with good behavior, I could lose like 50% of my time. What? And this kid is like, really excited about this. And so the justice employee, I think what the employee or the correctional officer said to him, all right, so 50% of your time. And he's like, all right, so then that's pretty good. And he goes, I'll be out of here, and so
right. He finds some reason. Right. He seems to find something to be excited about that.
He's excited about the fact that he's going to get out of there after serving 90 years.
Right. Man. And I gotta ask you, when you're doing projects like this, and a lot of times these things do deal with the realities of what goes on in life. Just watching the news is bad enough sometimes for us. Just hearing what's happening out here. When you do projects like this, do you ever have to go home after a hard day at work? Do you ever have to go home and just try to get this off your mind? Because I know you're acting, but still,
You know what? I don't have that problem. It really, and that's the reason why I don't have any judgments about these characters I play. I leave it.
Right.
I leave it. I don't. I haven't encountered, and also too, training has a lot to do with it too, Keith. I mean, the training is really, really important. So you can always resort to what you've learned and the tricks and methods and techniques and so that helps you. But no, it doesn't. I don't. And I play some dark characters.
Right.
Owen is a dark character, and he's just a dark character. And even the character I play in The Chair, Father Alexander, which is in post production now, another project I'm really proud of. Father Alexander comes to give last rites to a man who is going to be put to death.
Right, and not sorry to cut you off, but that was one of the other films and projects I was going to get into also was The Chair, because the title itself, is The Chair. So it's like,
man, that's
right. And so again, and I ask you these questions, understanding totally already that there's not too much you can give away about it, but
right.
You're obviously, like you said, you're giving last rites to this guy. He's been there for a while, but how's he taking it?
He's not. He doesn't take it well. Sullivan is the character, beautifully played by Tim Muscatel. He doesn't take it well at all. And so he challenges me. Essentially, what we're dealing with is an innocent man on death row who witnesses savage killings at the hands of the prison's sadistic warden.
Oh.
And so, to survive, he must match the brutality, and it's all of this stuff. He matches the brutality in prison, and confront his own horrifying past.
Right.
And so when Sullivan confronts Father Alexander, he's basically like, "Have you ever killed anyone?
Uh-huh.
Do you know what it's like? Do you have any sense of what that's like?" And then he pretty much turns on me,
Oh, wow.
And and I can't give away too much of it. The teaser is already up. I don't know if you've seen the teaser for it. It's a brilliant teaser.
No, I haven't. I need to watch that. And where can people check that out? Is it on YouTube? Or?
It's on YouTube. Just put in The Chair. The Chair is also on Facebook. It's all over my fan page, Tomas Boykin fan. And I had to be a part of The Chair because, first of all, one of the actors in it, who was also a producer, Kyle Hester, he was insisting that I become a part of this. And I'm like, well, and this was last February at the Hollywood Horror Fest. And at that time, another friend of mine was already attached, Bill Oberst Jr.,
right.
Who you've spoken to. Right. And he is the actual warden in The Chair.
Oh, man.
Yeah, he is the warden. So I really wanted to work with Bill, and I wanted to work with Kyle. And so we were all able to make it happen, through Peter Simetti and, my handlers, Matt Chasen, and my agents, Tiffany Atwood and Jennifer Sims. And so we're in post-production now, and the teaser is out, the second teaser, and it's great. It looks fantastic.
Look, just the cast you name between you and Bill, and you guys, I can already know this is going to be something serious.
It's just, we got Noah Hathaway, we got Zach Galligan, Roddy Piper, Bill Oberst Jr., Susan Eisenberg, Ezra Buzzington, Richardson.
Man.
It's directed by Chad Finland.
Yeah.
Screenplay by Peter Samedi and Aaron Kohat. So it's
Yeah.
we got Kenny Schreiner in there. Remember Kenny Schreiner? Ken Schreiner from General Hospital?
Yeah.
Baldwin.
Okay. What? Yeah.
Yeah, he's in there, man. So it was a lot of fun. But once again, this is a dark, dark story. And when we were on set, Chad and I would have these quiet conversations right there on set, where we were collaborating and sussing out how to get to this emotional place that was not a happy place.
Right. Yeah, right. Now here's one I got to ask you about, because you played Happy Man in Voodoo Possession. And I'm like, and these are like two. Now, and I'm wondering, is this going to go in the comedy direction, or is this going to go, because Voodoo's not funny, but then you're playing Happy Man, so you must be doing something crazy in here.
Yeah, man. Voodoo Possession that's another project. Now that one you can get on Redbox right now.
Okay.
I think it's still on Redbox.
That's what
Voodoo Possession. What are you going to say?
I was going to say, that's going to be my watch for the night, because I usually try to take one in every night. So, okay, that's good to know. Go ahead, though.
Yeah, the Voodoo Possession is, essentially the character I play, Happy Man, is a principal from Haiti, and he loses all of his students in the Great Earthquake.
Okay.
And this guy becomes possessed by evil voodoo spirits.
Yeah.
Now, in Voodoo Possession, I don't speak one word of English.
Oh, wow.
Everything is in Creole. So when I auditioned, I had to my audition was in Creole.
Okay.
So it's, and I had to jump at that to play that role, and the makeup was great, and, but yeah, man, I don't know any Creole, and everything I say is in Creole.
Well, that's what I was getting, that's
understanding of it.
That's what I was just getting ready to say. Like, is that a situation where you had to know Creole, or? I
adjusted my brain to the script, and then I was able
to,
because you're dealing with different phonetics with this kind of language.
Right.
So what would phonetically sound correct for us to say, certain pronunciations like E-T and then a space, and then L-O-U would say an accent mark over the U, and then some other word, and find out what that meant, and also how to say it correctly.
Right.
With a Haitian accent.
Right.
And I went into that audition not really thinking I wanted to do the role very badly, but I went into that thinking I'll probably not get it, and I just threw caution to the wind
and got it.
And went crazy. They liked it.
It went in on it. Now, speaking about, because you also have some awards on your belt too. 2008, the Maddie Awards, as a matter of fact,
right.
Best Actor. So again, as we talk about the roles that you've been playing, they've obviously been noticed, and I know that's been a while ago. But just for the people out there, how did it feel to win that award?
Oh, it felt great. It always feels good to win awards, man. It always. No one's going to ever tell you that they don't like being acknowledged.
Right.
And that was stage work of Mice and Men, and I very much wanted to do that. I haven't done too many. I don't think I've done. I'm proud of all of my work, and that doesn't mean that I think it's all great. But I don't have anything that I've done that I just truly did not want to do. I wanted to do Of Mice and Men, where I got the Maddie Award, and I definitely wanted to do Elegy for a Revolutionary, where I got to play a South African dissident who was in prison. I got the California Film Award for that in 2012. So those and the characters don't have anything to do with one another.
Right.
You know what I mean? There's not,
Right. Now, when you talk about the in California, was that the Drama Critics Circle Award?
That one, I believe, came from the play Passing.
Oh, it was a play?
Yeah, the Passing, which is something I did back in the late 90s.
Okay.
And but the California Film Awards was in 2012, and that was for the movie LG4 Revolutionary.
Oh, all right.
And that just, I believe that just stopped on the festival circuit. It was on the festival circuit for about a year and a half almost, I believe, more than a year and a half.
Right. And you play Ori in that, right?
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Right. And I got that work pretty much at the exact same time that we were shooting that pretty much at the exact same time that I was also working on Parenthood opposite CeeLo Green there at NBC Universal.
Oh, wow.
So the characters have, I mean, if there's one thing I'm really happy about, it's just how different characters, one from the other, have been so far in my career.
Right, because and that's the thing, we've been talking about film, but in those different things, but you've also grazed with television too, with let's see, Gypsy, as you just spoke about, Parenthood.
Yeah, Gypsy is in that is in pre-production, and that deals again with the world of voodoo. I'm going to be playing a high priest of in voodoo culture by the name of Bon Baptiste. And Bondaye, I believe, is the full name, Baptiste.
Bondaye, Baptiste.
So I'm really looking forward to that. And that's they're working out the kinks on that in terms of setting up the deal for it. And so hopefully we'll start shooting that soon.
Right. Now, what and this is a question I have. Is there a role, whether it was at the beginning of your career or halfway through, or just coming up, has there been a role that you have, or is there a role that you want to play, possibly that you haven't played yet?
I got asked that question about 2 weeks ago in an interview, and I've already begun. I've tried to work on it I've attempted to work on it with a few writers, but people get busy with other things, and of course you have to make a living at this,
Right.
But the one character there's two projects, one I can't speak of,
right,
which deals with one of our American institutions, but the character I want to play is Thelonious Monk.
Oh, wow.
I've been fascinated by Thelonious Monk since college, and he is just one of and particularly just everything about him, man. And I've done a lot of research on him. I would love to play Monk.
Wow. And I could, and that's the thing, with the roles that you play, and even with your voice and just the roles that you play and the character that you have, the deep roles are really for you. I can't see you just being the guy who's just on the screen and just playing up in the air roles. You're a substantial. I want to say you're a playmaker on the screen. You know what I mean? And
thank you.
Yeah, and that means that really means a lot. Now, what have you ever been to? Have you ever took classes? Did you ever go to theater or acting school before?
Yeah. That's Walnut Street Theater. When I was in Philly, because you can only wing it so long.
Right.
And so when I was in Philly, I was at Society Hill Playhouse for about a year, and then from there I went to Walnut Street Theater Institute, and they had a program there for about, I think it was like 2.5 years. And so I did a lot of studying between Society Hill Playhouse, Walnut Street Theater Institute, and Freedom Theater, which is also out of Philadelphia.
Right.
And all of that stuff took place mainly, I would say, probably from, I'm thinking, before I got to college, I had done that training.
Right.
And it served me well, because what I realized was something that my dad told me lot of training even before I got to college.
Wow. Now, what advice, before we go, what advice would you have for people coming up and trying to get into this field? Because, it comes with a lot of hard work, for all the people out there listening. It comes with a lot of hard work. It's not just, red carpets, glitz, glamour, and things of that nature. There's days where you might even come home from work like, oh, goodness, I don't know if I can even do this anymore. What advice would you have for those out there to stay as, inspired and follow the goal to get to where you've gotten to?
I believe that, ever so, when people look at these award shows, the Oscars and the Golden Globes, of course some of those people, a lot of those people you see at those award ceremonies, they're some of the most beautiful people, they're some of the richest people, they're some of the most talented people. But there's variations of all of those things in a lot, if not all of those people, but no two of them had the exact same combination.
Right.
But what they do have in common, I believe, Keith, is that they are the toughest people from where they came.
Yeah.
Okay, so, in the 90s, early 90s, I was in a theater company in New York, and then there are things that play out that you don't think are going to play out. I'm a different actor now than I was 25 years ago. My sights are different, so a lot of it is just staying.
Yeah.
Just staying. And when I say staying, I don't mean stagnate. I mean staying. Just staying. And I remember in the early 90s, I was in this theater company. And there was about 30 of us, 35 of us, and we had already produced about 5 plays, and then we disbanded. And we were able to live off of those plays. And I think I was probably one or two of the only black members in the company. Everybody was a mixture. It was predominantly white, and a lot of there are people there from other countries, but we did original works. And I was really proud of the work that we were able to produce. But I'm probably, and here's the racial thing about it. If you want to look at it in terms of how hard it is, I think I might be. There's one other actor I'm aware of from that old theater company back in the day who is still doing it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So he and I are like the only two, and everyone else, so a big part of it is staying. You cannot, it's a marathon. It's not a sprint. You're here, man.
Woo.
You are here. If you want to do it, you got to dig in, and you're going to be experiencing many, many nights and years, possibly years and months of loneliness and hunger.
Oh man, you are saying, look, I almost want to say you preaching right now, man, because what you just said, and I've asked this question a lot of times, and what you just said was so deep, and until it was heartfelt, it was moving, because you're right. It's about, and I listen, I even take that in myself, staying. It means a lot, because just like you said, there are going to be times where you're tired, you don't want to give up. It is a marathon, and you have to be able to go the distance.
Yeah, man, it's not. So that's what I mean when I say you look at these actors, and I don't care how young they are or how old they are going to go through seasons. Every actor is going to have some seasons that are going to be dark, and they're going to have some seasons that are going to be bright. And you got to get through it. You look at a cat like Morgan Freeman, or you look at, any actor, Denzel, or, Jamie Foxx, or Daniel Day-Lewis, or Joaquin Phoenix. These cats got miles on them. Halle Berry, everybody, these are tough people. Ooh. And they are competitive, and they want to win all the time. That said, I don't believe they're not going to cut people out and be mean to people and be unfair to, but the competition is in yourself.
That hunger.
You want to get better, and you want to stay, and you want to grow. And that is a long haul.
Man. Yes, indeed.
And a lot of people, and I go into rooms, I've been in meetings, where everybody is frothy over just the notion of an idea, and I look at them and I'm like, guys, come on, we're in the rudimentary stages of a non-stage, and you guys, you getting frothy over that?
Yeah.
Let's see where we are in about 6 months if we get that far.
Man.
You know what I mean? So it's a discipline thing, and you have to stay, and you have to be dialed in. And if it's what you want to do, I do it because there's really nothing else I can do.
Right.
You do it long enough, you can't do anything.
Yeah. You know what? You're
it's
right.
Like a musician, you just do it. You play.
Yeah. You're right about that, man. What you said is a lot. Even in my field here, it's like I did it, doing it for so long and just staying hungry and trying to get to that level, far from it, but just staying in the flow and staying in the traffic of things. Eventually, you, just like you said, it's hard to see yourself doing anything else, and you almost get afraid to jump out of it. And so you have to be be prepared to stay in it, and always.
You have to be moving, and that's really what it's about. It's not movement for movement's sake, and it's not being busy doing busy work. You have to grow. There's not things I've done already I don't want to do, not in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's going to take you. You develop a narrative about what kind of work you want to do. You don't want to do it blindly. I can't anyway.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I don't like to repeat myself, and what that can often do is it can change relationships that you have with people. Like I have dear friends who I've worked with, like say back in 2008 and 2009, who I haven't worked with since.
Mm-hmm.
Because for whatever reason our growth spurts were different.
Right.
But we're still friends. You know what I'm saying? So the work can take you, and what you want to do with it can take you in some very interesting places, and you can end up collaborating with some very interesting people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and always being willing to learn as well, because you never stop learning, I assume, in this business also.
No, you don't, and that's another great thing I love about it, is that I didn't know when I was a kid how helpful it is to be smart.
You're right. That's true.
How helpful it is to be well read, and how helpful it is to be almost nauseatingly curious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, curiosity.
Almost inconveniently curious. But you don't want to be a notion that's been established to death. But you're searching, and you're always looking at, and as long as you stay like that, and you keep, and you keep your mind fresh and open to reinventing yourself,
mm-hmm.
you'll be fine. But it ain't easy. Nothing comes easy in this business, and if it does, that's fleeting.
Hey, you know what? And that, but it's just like you said a while ago. Like a lot of the people that people see out there, at the different shows. It's like you say, everybody went through something, and they had to be able to pull it off or make it through, or had to take that extra step, and that means a lot. I'm glad, Tomas, that we closed out on this note. Because I think it's important to just kind of really get deep sometimes about things like that, and because those are really it's food for thought, and those are reality lessons. They're not just lessons that are for the screen, but they're also lessons in life.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's the thing. So much about this game and this business is the lessons are about life. You know what I mean? And there's oftentimes not too much separation. And then with social media and technology changing, it just becomes it's a whole different thing.
Mm-hmm. Right. And it takes us away from that. Wow, man! I tell you, like I said,
I can't see another business I want to be in. I'm blessed to be doing this.
Look, and you are, and you're doing a wonderful job, and your work shows, your work ethic shows the roles that you play, and I can see why, and just talking to you towards the end now, I can also see even more why the roles that you play, especially the ones about for instance where ice cream for breakfast, or the chair, and different just different roles like that, man. It just kind of touch us in a life kind of way. I can I can really see why you stand out for that, because you get deep with those roles, man, and you're doing a great job, and we greatly appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Look, before we go, let everybody know where they can keep up with you on social media, Twitter pages, or anything like that.
Yeah, man. If you Google Tomas Boykin, you'll see them all. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter at Tomas Boykin. I'm on Stage 32, which is a social media site for creatives. I'm on Tumblr. I'm on Pinterest. I'm all over the place. Then there's TomasBoykin.com, my website. And of course, you can look up everything on IMDb, where a lot of my social media sites are as well. So I'm there's a lot of my work is all over social media. So clips and some of my reviews and things that I've done. So it's fairly easy to get a hold of me through my handlers, through Matt Chasen and through my agents. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, I'm all over the place.
That's right. That's right. He is definitely doing the thing, man. And and also what I'll be doing on social media too is I'll be following you also, and doing my best to keep everybody up to date and posting on what new projects and when your films and new TV things are going to be released and everything like that. And again, look, I enjoyed this conversation because it was not only about what I gathered. I gathered some things for myself from this conversation too, Tomas, and I really appreciate you being down to earth. A lot of people are cloudsy, and floating around, but in other words, I really appreciate you being 100% real. It means a lot.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me on. And there's things that I know and the things that I've experienced, so much of it is right there for everyone to see it. I think the whole dynamic that's going on with Empire and with Lee Daniels and with Monique and with Oscar's So White, and all of that stuff. All of the folklore and the stories and everything is right there in front of everybody's faces. So if you just open your eyes and your ears and all your senses, there are no mysteries. It's playing out right there in front of you.
Yeah.
It's playing out. You know what I mean? You're like, you can't be too stunned by Empire doing what it's doing. Mm-hmm. You really can't when you look at the landscape. You can't be too stunned. It's not a fluke that Halle Berry is the only black woman to win the Academy Award for Best Actress in the history of the Oscars. That's not a fluke.
Damn.
That's not a fluke.
Whew.
You know what I'm saying? So you gotta really, before I moved to Hollywood, I researched Hollywood. I wanted to know why it looked the way it looked. I wanted to, I was fascinated by ethnic groups. So I wanted to know why all these names are the same. Are they similar? Are they end with the last suffix that similar suffix, in the credits? So, who started Hollywood? Why did it start? Why did those people start Hollywood? You know what I'm saying? So I looked up all of that before I got here, so that it would make sense to me why it is the way it is.
And you know what? You are very right. I have done. I do the same thing. I took time, and I started years ago. I took time to look and just pay attention, and just like you say, understand the formula and the dynamics. And you're right. It is. I tell you, it's no surprise to those who get it, to those who want to understand it.
Right.
And then there's that, and then there's that other side too that I don't know. They just must not want to know, Tomas.
Well, the thing is, I think a lot of people, what they don't want to know, and you have to make peace with this, is that someone asks, someone will ask, well, how much is this going to? How much of this People require everything. You don't clock in.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't clock in.
Oh, man.
You don't clock in. All you got to do is ask any of these people who are knee deep or neck deep in this business, and all you got to do is ask their loved ones.
Yeah.
You don't clock in.
Yeah, you're definitely living it, and it can make and break. It can make and break that other side of you, that, you know, just that personal life, your everyday life. It can really make or break it. You're right. Yeah. You have to understand the dynamics. You have to understand the lingo. You've even got to understand the circles, just like you just said.
Yeah, you got to and you watch everything, and you don't, you pay attention. Like that movie Whiplash. I can relate to Whiplash because I worked with a playwright in New York who was like the J.K. Simmons character in Whiplash.
Mm-hmm.
So I could understand that. And when I was working with this playwright, I mean, she wasn't particularly abusive to me, but I thought she was mean, and I saw her really be hard and just really brutal on people. But I stayed with her because I was going to learn so much, and I did like 37 of her plays. But when I was done, believe me, I was done. But I gained an awful lot from it. She made me tough. Yeah. She made me tough. And when a playwright can walk into the dressing room and literally tell the cast to,
right,
don't F up my play. I got all my patrons out there. Boo boo. I want good reviews. Y'all hear me?
Mm-hmm. Right.
You know what I'm saying? And when I know what it's like to deal with people who require an awful lot of you, and to have just enough space in your psyche to endure it until you learn the lessons.
Look, and this is definitely no business for the soft-hearted.
No.
Flat out.
No.
It's not, man. We'll end it on that note. Look, listen, Tomas, man. I'd love to have you come back on, man. It seems like we could have went all different kinds of ways with this conversation right here. You know what I mean? And
well, thank you so much for having me. Yeah, man. Let's do it again. And it was a pleasure talking to you because I have a feeling that our dialogue could end up leading into a lot of different areas because Hollywood is. You know what is really great about this, and I'll leave you with this, and this is what I knew coming into Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
New York was New York,
uh-huh.
Okay? And when you're in New York, when I was in New York, I wasn't thinking about Hollywood. When you're doing those plays, and one year I did like 9 plays, I'm not thinking about Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
I'm not thinking about film. As far as I was concerned, people who were in movies were harvested from another planet.
Right.
But when you get to Hollywood, my mental adjustment for Hollywood in terms of the film industry, the business, and how passive aggressive it can be sometimes, and how unfair it can seemingly be sometimes, and how you don't get what you deserve, but you get what you negotiated, mm-hmm. and how those two things are often not synonymous. I compared Hollywood to Washington.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Politics.
Yep. and that depends on how you. To me, politics is a sport.
Right. And you know what? And look, like you said, we could go so many different ways. Because look, just like you talking, I could jump off into me going through the same things. I mean, look, I'm where I'm at right now. Look, I'm where I'm at today. And oh man, look, I ain't even.
What is that saying? I had a run-in with an old friend of mine, and I read his script, and I didn't like it, and I guess I told him I was too honest about it, and so we had a disagreement, and he just really didn't. I just left him with something I had heard a long, long time ago. Good judgment comes from experience, and a lot of that comes from bad judgment. Yeah, and there's a lot of experience in bad judgment, and look, and we've heard that term too. As a matter of fact, what we spoke about a few times is that term called play ball. Right, play ball.
That's
you can play ball without losing yourself.
Look, exactly, and that is one of the key phrases. And a lot of people, that's one of the main things, to really understand about this industry. But like you say, being able to play ball without losing yourself is very important, most important.
And I like the challenge. It's cool.
Hey, hey, that's what makes us greats, right? Exactly. So, absolutely. Listen, all right, Tomas, look, it's been wonderful talking to you. Look, consider this home. You know, when you know your itinerary, I'll be keeping in touch with you, man. We'll keep in touch with each other. I'll be following what you do. And let's get back on here sometimes and just have a full breakdown. You know what I mean?
Okay, definitely.
That sounds good, man. Listen, big shouts out to Matt Chasen too. For being so supportive and helping to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Matt Chasen, my manager. Jennifer Sims, my agent. Tiffany Atwood, my partner Lily Diamond. That's Team Boykin right there. Matt Chasen, Lily Diamond, Jennifer Sims, and Tiffany Atwood. Those are the people who understand me, who understand the brand, and they make it possible for me to do what I do.
That's what's up, man. We're 100% behind you. Listen, look, it's wonderful. As you already know, everything will be up on social media tonight. I can't wait. I'm looking forward to everybody enjoying this wonderful conversation we had. I know people are just going to sit back like, wow, you know, and because there's a lot of truth to it. There's a lot of truth to it, and I love it. We didn't just talk about the lights, camera, and action, but we talked about life. You know,
right.
And that's important. Listen, Tomas, I'll be talking to you soon, man. Look, stay in touch. And look, we'll talk again. We'll talk again anyway. We'll be ending the show, but you and I will speak again anyway off the record as well.
Definitely, man. Definitely. Thank you so much for having me, and it was a pleasure. And let's do it again.
All right, Tom. Bye-bye.
All right, brother.
Wow, everybody. Woo! Tomas Boykin. Listen, I can understand the man's angle. I really can. For a minute, I was stunned. I was stunned for a minute because, you know, there's a lot of lessons in what we talked about. But, you know, listen, make sure you go check out my man Tomas Boykin's films. Go to his IMDb page. Look up his work. He's doing wonderful work. We're going to see a lot more of him. I'd like to congratulate him on all his success so far. I wish him the best. I know there's so much more success to come. He's going to be around for a long time, ladies and gentlemen. He has the game. He overstands it. And he knows what time it is, and his work ethic shows. He's doing wonderful work. He's not just showing up on set like, hey, this is the business that I'm in, and look at me and just waving here and waving there. He takes his roles seriously, and you can tell that within his personality. So again, we send a big shout out to Tomas Boykin and his whole team, Team Boykin. As a matter of fact, you've been listening to the Keith Harris Show. I'm your host, Keith Harris. We do this all the time. Stay tuned.